Barbara Groark of Cape May Radio and the Center for Community Arts. Today we are turning the WCFA spotlight on Lauren Flanagan and her novella, I Wed the Sea, a Love Story. It's a short book, only 124 pages, a great beach read recommendation, not for kids though, a few R-rated sections. Lauren lives with her husband and 3 kids and 2 dogs in the town of Vancouver in British Columbia, but the setting of her book is an unnamed town on the Jersey Shore where she and her family, in fact, still spend summer vacations when not in pandemic lockdown. Lauren, when I saw the reference to 96th Street, I thought Stone Harbor.
Hi. So my family have been going to New Jersey. None of us are from there, but we've been going there for 5 generations. And
so you're from Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I was born in Pittsburgh. And then as a child, it's like my life was like black and white, and going to the shore was color, you know? And so I looked forward to it all year. It was kind of my everything. And to this day, we still go to the shore every single summer if we can. And then again in September for a family reunion. And my siblings and I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. And we congregate there and reminisce, and sometimes it's happy and sometimes it's sad. We have some sad things about the shore for us, but mainly it's happy. The pandemic put a stop to us going to I guess celebrate's the wrong word, but to hold a memorial for my nephew Dylan, who passed away in 2015, and the book is dedicated to Dylan. So we go in September around his birthday to just remember him. And he lived there. He lived in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. And, we miss him very much.
Tell us how you started writing this book, your first book.
Yeah, my first book. I was so busy with 3 kids, and I volunteered at Children's Hospital in the ICU. And of course that stopped also. And suddenly there was no driving around. And then when the pandemic started and we were all stuck here at home, I felt anxious like a lot of people. So I picked up a pen and I just started writing. And then I felt like out of nowhere, it just came like just nonstop. I wrote nonstop until the book was done. And it really helped me take all of my focus and put it in just one place. And then once I was finished with it, I realized it should be longer, like books are longer. But then I liked it so much the way it was, like it was my baby. And I wanted it the way it was. And when my publisher first read it, the president of the company emailed me that day and said that you're a writer and I love it and we want to publish it the way it is. And then he gave me a great editor, thank goodness, to fix it up, the few mistakes that were in there. By few, I mean like 15 or 20. but she did an amazing job. And then up here it is now.
As I was reading, I was reminded of 2 books. One is Anne Morrow Lindbergh's A Gift from the Sea from the 1950s, and also from 1998, Terry McMillan's How Stella Got Her Groove Back. But your model was really from the French writer Albert Camus.
Yeah, I'm
Albert.
I'm vaguely obsessed with him.
And there vaguely obsessed?
Vaguely. I do actually have a tattoo. I have a tattoo of Camus.
No, that says what? That says?
It says the sea close by. So when I wrote I Wed the Sea, I used at least 3 quotes from that novella, The Sea Close By. But my sense of the book was that I wanted it to be romantic, and that I wanted it to be both fun and poignant, to do both of those things, and not to be like a rom-com like trope of like, oh, they fall in love and then they fall out of love and then he has to win her back. And I didn't write it to be like any of the things I'd read. Like I wanted it to be original, and I hope that it is.
You talked about your sister's experience with your nephew had died, and she was your audience as you were writing, your imagined audience.
I didn't tell her I was writing it right away, but then at a point I realized I should let her know. Also, it's just like you have to get permission to dedicate a book to someone. I felt like I had to. So I wrote it, and then when I set it aside for a while, just like you do, and I started typing it into my computer because I'd written it by hand. But when I typed it into my laptop, I opened the file to her, the Google Doc, so that she could see every word as I typed it. And she she felt like I was writing it for her, you know, only for the first time. And she was my intended audience, though I had already written it, you know what I mean, on
Right.
paper. But
Yes.
when I wrote it, I typed it with her and I could feel that she was on the other end across the continent, like you are. You're across the continent from me.
Right.
She was way over in Massachusetts, and it was just amazing that she could see the words appearing as they appeared. And also, I was trying to distract her from her grief because her son died, you know.
Right.
And I think I did distract her quite a bit. And I was also hoping that I, you know, could have a little impact on the way she saw the whole experience of losing Dylan.
And there is a soothing quality in the writing, even the sex scenes. Talk a little bit about your technique. A lot of books stick with first or third person, and for those who need a refresher, first person is I did this, I did that, I went to the store. Second person is you did this, you did that, and third person is it was a dark and stormy night. The Red Baron did this and did that. He did this, he did that. So you, however, in this book, float between one person's view and the other. Even in the same chapter, the main character is Eve, but in the same chapter, after a break in the text, you drift into Jamie's viewpoint, first person also, and in others you use third person, and yet it's kind of graceful and in the transitions, and the reader is not really confused. Either reader wasn't confused. After about, you know, a second and a half, you realize it's him talking. How did you decide on that kind of?
So it happened organically for me. And then I realized I was doing it and I had to talk with myself, like, is that okay? Do I need to switch to all
Is there an
one?
English teacher somewhere that's saying you can't do that?
That's
Yeah.
right, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I have read that now that I have written something and I'm writing another book. I've read a lot about writing, and I realized that you're meant to pick one. And I did realize along the way with the one I wrote, but I needed it. Like, I had a talk with my editor. I needed it to be in all those perspectives, because no spoilers, but I mean, it really is Eve writing it. It's Eve's memories. And sometimes when you're thinking about your past, you see it like a story. You see it from the third person. And she was looking at her life so intensely. This one summer in the 80s in New Jersey on the beach. And she was remembering it so hard and so well that she went into the story sometimes. So she's feeling it as a memory, and then sometimes she's reliving it. And that's when she says, you know, when Eve says, I this and I that. And the same thing with, she's thinking of Jamie's perspective. Sometimes she's thinking about it so hard, she's in it. So that we get his perspective.
In his mind as well.
Or in his mind, because he's shared his memories with her about those times. So she can see it from his perspective, because he'll have said to her, I remember that time. And so she lives through both.
And there's also a love of dogs in this book.
There is a love of dogs in this book. I feel like I love dogs in books. Like, if I'm reading a book and there's a dog, you know, I'm kind of drawn to the dog. Maybe it is, but no, I really like the image of the beginning of the book when the two dogs meet before Amy, you know, Jamie and Eve meet. I think the dogs are an important character in the book, and I had a lot of fun with them. Like the slow motion scene when they basically run into each other's arms, even though they're dogs, you know.
And you wanted to mention the cover art of the seahorse?
I am super in love with ocean animals in general, and this, but I found an artist for my publisher because I wanted something kind of specific, and they were okay with that, which is lovely. And so I found David Morris, and he's at Island Sun Studio. He has Etsy shop, Instagram, all those things. And I asked him if he would paint original cover art for this book, and he agreed, and that's how we came up with the seahorse. And of course, there is a scene in the I Wed the Sea that has a reference to seahorses.
That's right. Would you like to do a reading from your book?
I would love to do reading. Yeah.
Wonderful. What section are you doing?
I am thinking to. The bookmark just fell out, also very adorable.
Okay, that's right.
I was thinking to read from the prologue and part of the first chapter. The first time I ever saw him, I wasn't ready to really see him, so I didn't. I missed it. There was a quietness about him, a stillness. He looked like he might radiate overconfidence, but he didn't. In time, I came to know that he is always like this, like a sunrise, at peace. He loves the sea because he feels at one with the sun, the sea, the sand. He doesn't need the ocean like I do. It's not his church. We are all time travelers. Our planet hurtles through the universe, shedding lives like stardust. In its wake, he is there. We all are. I wish I could run straight into the sunrise fast enough, on, and into yesterday and yesterday and yesterday, and keep going through sunrise after sunrise, faster and faster, and find her, me. I would tell her, hurry. Chapter 1 is called Sunrise. And here's the quote by Albert Camus, The Sea Close By. I grew up in the sea and poverty was sumptuous. Then I lost the sea and found all luxuries gray. It's still dark. She lifts the heron blue blanket from the weathered white bench. She removes the ivory wrap from its home on the hook. She whispers, come on, Ben. As ebony fades to slate, they make their way to the beach. The light hints of secrets. The katydids cease buzzing. It is a cool, misty morning. The sun is still shy. Cresting the dunes, they arrive at that magic moment when the stars vanish, eclipsed by the sun. The rolling waves are a tender lullaby. The white foam is eerily bright. The air is full of the smell of salt and the sand, the sea. Gulls, sentimental sentinels, stare at the horizon. They are the wives of sailors who have been out to sea for far too long or are never coming home. Silently, like a sorcerer turning silver into gold, the sun rises. It's not an exact moment, more like many moments strung together, like a lifetime. The first rays of light settle on her. She takes a deep breath. As she breathes out, she slowly releases the sand from her clenched hands. Sand slivers through her fingers. The sky is burnt orange, blazing into white. The sun rises, and as promised, I feel renewed. Sitting quietly beside me is Ben, my best friend, my soulmate, my dog. The sunrise feels like it's only for us. The seagulls let out their first of many cries, calling good morning to the day. I am slowly running my hands along Ben's fur when he stands and runs up the beach. I turn and see a man and his dog. Both of our dogs are Labradors, only Ben is a chocolate and his is a yellow. The dogs act like long lost friends. It's almost as if they didn't know they were lonely until they met each other. When your dogs decide that they are a thing, their people kind of have to meet. Plus, we are alone on a beach at sunrise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where can people get the book?
Because of pandemic, sometimes I know that some bookstores are having shortages and running out, which is great. Yay, running out of books. But it's usually available at the Stone Harbor Bookshop. I know that one for sure. You can buy it anywhere that you buy books. You can get it on Amazon, Kindle.
Any of the online bookstores?
Anywhere on, yeah. And even the ones that, even indie bookstores can get it for you if you ask them to order it. But I know that Abe Books, Book Depository, anywhere that you buy books has it. And did we mention that it's not a kid's book? That it's a little bit spicy and that
a little bit salty. we have.
Yeah, don't buy it for your 13-year-old niece kind of thing. I read a lot, like a lot. And if someone wanted to read along with me, I have over 5,000 followers and am an influencer for HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, and Penguin. So they send me their books. And then after I've read them, I give an honest review and obviously share a fun photo. Sometimes my dog is in it, Toffee. And as a fun fact, I have with me a picture of my grandfather, who was one of the original lifeguards in Stone Harbor.
Charles J. Lang. That says 1927.
Yep. And some of the photos of the Lang family, I'm a Lang. Some of your listeners are probably Langs. They're all over that part of the world. We've been coming there for 5 generations, and there are photos of my family in the Stone Harbor Museum.
Yeah.
And actually, I Wed the Sea is going to be auctioned off, a signed copy, at their yearly gala, which is coming up soon. As a
wow, Stone Harbor yearly gala.
Yeah, they asked me for a copy.
Okay.
And of course, I sent them one, of course.